I've hit the record button.
Okay. All right. Hello, welcome to episode 202 of Geek Grills. The Geek Grills podcast is supported primarily by our patrons at www.patreon.com/grills. I am Ray, and I'm joined by my co-host Linda.
Hello!
And Ember will not be joining us. She is at Super Happy Fun Times wedding. So,
Wedding and granddaughter's birthday.
super mega happy fun times. Uh, Today it's just gonna be the two of us, and our topic is Amber Ruffin. And before we go into that, what have you been up to, Linda?
Well, I made a little baby plush. I made a little a bear with a fuzzy little skirt.
It looks so soft.
It is very soft. It's so soft. Actually, Ember seeing her granddaughter, I made Ember's granddaughter a little while ago. Listeners that recall, I've made her a Greta doll, and she has it now. And Ember sent me pictures of her just snuggling the little Greta doll, and I'm just very happy about that. And I still have this, which is green and purple, and it will eventually become a Beetlejuice.
Ooh.
Because green and purple.
Yes.
And somebody who has a kid must like that movie/cartoon. So.
Or, maybe an adult just wants it for funsies.
Maybe. But it was nice to kind of just sit and make something, because I've been having a little bit of a rough week at work. We're behind because it's summer and people have started wearing less clothing, and because we're a dermapathology lab that looks for lumps and bumps, people are noticing that more because they're wearing less clothes. So our numbers are going up, which is great, because we want to stay in business, but I am dying under an avalanche of paperwork. So that's just my life right now. This weekend I went and saw Black Widow with Ray. So we have both seen it, and next week we're going to be doing a spoilers episode with when Ember comes back. So spoilers. We're doing a spoiler episode. All I'm going to say is that I was not expecting for the last roll of the credits to turn and look at Ray and suddenly be accosted by her yelling about My Little Pony.
Okay, not a spoiler, but I am upset about Twilight Sparkle.
So...
You have that to look forward to.
Yes. And then we had... me and my husband had some of his friends over. They were going to play some Kill Team, but they also brought some other board games, so we had a little board game day. I got to play something called Fortune and Glory, which is kind of, it's like a pulp hero kind of board game. It reminded me a lot of Adventure, which is like the White Wolf part of the Trinity Continuum thing of their pulp heroes, and I had a lot of fun. So that was a good day. Hopefully, this may be a coming up thing, I guess, but I would like to go for Sunday walkies again.
I just...
You had something else. You had family stuff, so...
Oh, yeah, we had I will go into that.
Yes, so what have you been up to?
Our friend Patrick and Ken were in town, or Kenny, excuse me, and they were staying with us for a few days. So I actually got to pull out my boffer weapons, because of course he brought his boffer weapons down from Virginia.
Of course.
So we took over the side yard, which I could easily host a boffer practice. I will just need to know to rake up some pine cones before we do, which was the only thing we ran into, and mow the grass. I did not really mow the grass before that. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't the best for that. But I try to fight with my staff against his sword and board, his sword and shield. Uh, just call them boards. And yeah, no, it was fun. Amp and our system aren't too far off.
Oh,
But
Amp Guard is whack it till it hurts, isn't it?
well, they have heavier weapons, so you whack it, but if it leaves a bruise, it's removed from game. Like it's not
Okay, okay.
supposed to leave bruises, but it's not light as touch. So there is a thump sound when it hits you, and he is very good at that tick tick move, the tap tap,
Yeah.
double tap. Yeah, that's what the wrist flick, which is how he kept nailing me, and I was just good job, GG, out. No, but again, I have a staff, so I'm like not really the most offensive person with said staff.
Right.
It is only there for when I run out of magic. But it was still fun. I listened to some shows while working on other stuff. So one of the ones I did get sucked into, they were watching was Alone season 7, which basically is 100 days in the Arctic
Oh,
survival
yikes.
show.
One yikes. I do not like being cold.
Oh no, you would have hated it. Like we're joking, like maybe we're all like, if we survived one day, that would be enough. It'd be like day 2, we'd wake up and just call out, and be like, nope, I want breakfast, I want a heater, I want.
Yeah, tapping out. Sorry.
But they did have one good person who made it all the way 100 days to the end.
Wow.
So they were definitely the top survivalist. So I kind of want to see some of those other seasons, but um,
Did they get like prize money or is it just for bragging rights?
no, it's $1 million.
Okay.
So like, if there's a reason for you to try and survive on your own in the wilderness for 100 days,
I guess.
and yeah, like the 100 days are up in December,
Ooh.
so it's like kind of the really cold parts.
Well, is it north or
Yeah,
south?
north. It's
Okay, yeah. So that would be
it's
the coldest part.
the Arctic Circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's specifically a place in Canada. Um, it's a huge lake called Slave Lake, which,
Nice.
yep,
You don't think you could have
but
changed that name, maybe?
maybe someday should be a good thing to do. But yeah, no, that kind of sucked me in because I do like watching survival shows. And then Nigel gave me the idea for he sent me a tiefling in a Sukiban outfit, which is like a female, it's girl delinquent, a Japanese girl delinquent, like girl boss,
Mm-hmm.
kind of gang leader. So it's stereotypically it has like the very long pleated skirt as opposed to like a shorter knee skirt. And they notoriously hide weapons in the skirt or something. At this point, like apparently it was kind of like greaser culture, like the Sukiban and the Yankee and the Mancho,
Mm-hmm.
like delinquent style is kind of equivalent to like greaser for us in the 50s. It's like nobody
Uh,
really does it anymore.
that just reminded me, and I don't know why I suddenly thought of this, but do you remember in Sailor Moon how, um, uh, Jupiter, she always wore a longer skirt because it was from her old school? I'm wondering if like that was like a cultural thing that just kind of went over our heads. Because if you saying like a longer skirt so they could hide weapons, people were scared of her in there. In that.
I mean, that could have been one of the other reasons why they were intimidated by her. Like, usually with these skirts, they go to the ankles.
Okay, I'm just curious if that is like a cultural thing that we just didn't pick up on because we didn't grow up
I
there.
mean, I'm not gonna rule it out. Like, one of Naoko's early like rough sketches of Jupiter has her smoking cigarettes to illustrate she is tough girl. Rawr.
Rar.
But yes, and the male equivalent I think was called Bancho, which like if you've seen JoJo with the hat and
Mm-hmm.
the high neck, it's kind of like from that. But so I ended up drawing our D&D characters in that style, with markers and like graffiti in the background, and yeah, I actually really like how it turned out mostly. Um, I tried to do darker shadows on the on Ilby the half elf and the gnome,
Mm-hmm.
but for some reason it's just even when I use drastically darker skin tones, it blends too well as opposed to like the green for the Verdant or the red for my tiefling, which gives it a very stark shadow look, but then the other two just look so out of place. But I did a D&D style logo with graffiti in the background. That made me very happy. And you can see
Lovely.
that on my Instagram if you want to.
Yeah.
It's like the only thing I've done recently that I'm excited about art-wise.
I
Let's see.
post I posted a picture on my Instagram of one of my whole crewmates looking at the two dead ones.
I saw that.
It's just like, oh no. I was very pleased with how that picture turned out.
I've gotten distracted from doing traditional art with a wonderful program that I've been fussing with called Vroid Studios. So I can make edits to I can basically make my own VTube avatar using it. You can't use Vroid Studios to make other people's avatars or like to sell them.
Mm-hmm.
You're not allowed to use it to sell, but you can use it for private use. So I've been playing with that, and I'm currently remaking my own halfling character. She is very small. I'm very
Nice.
proud of how tiny I got her.
Fair enough.
But I also made my a separate avatar for my character in the Simulacra TV Aberrant Atomic Youth game. So I have basically a model of what that character circuit looks like before her eruption.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very proud of that because it was the first time fussing with that. Uh, saw Black Widow
You
because
have
of opinions
feelings.
about Twilight Sparkle, but the movie is good.
The
Aside from
movie is
that,
good. We'll go
it
into
just
it. Like, it's just.
like 2 days later, Scott's still like I just I look over at him. I go, it could have been a teddy bear. And he's just shut up about it. I'm
It's
like,
just, I just need everyone to just picture you're sitting in it was a studio movie grill, so it had like a little cherry table for the food. We had eaten. It was the end. It was after the post credit scene. There is a post credit scene, and I look over at Ray, and what comes out of her mouth is Twilight Sparkle was not a Generation 2 pony. And I went, what? Because that is not something that I even noticed. That is something I probably would have noticed on like a second watch. But the first watch totally didn't. I was not paying attention to that at all. So I had no idea why we're suddenly talking about My Little Pony.
I admit it's a throwaway scene. It is only there to establish that it's 1995, and like,
Sorry, my husband just.
but Twilight Sparkle did not exist until 2010, until Friendship is Magic, which is Generation 4, not 2. And I don't know, like there are people who are like, oh, maybe it was a homage to Tara Strong since she plays the voice of Miss Minutes in the Loki, and this was supposed to come out last year. And I'm like, it still doesn't make sense. Tara Strong has done like a million voices. If you wanted to have her like If you wanted to be a stuffed animal that Tara Strong voiced, you could have had Hello Kitty. You could have had Rupert. You could have had lots of things. Just
Yeah.
I'm done.
Which
I'm not.
I
I'm not. I'll save it.
yeah, I've met her and gotten her autograph. By the way, she's very
She's
nice.
awesome. Like, uh, yay Tara Strong, but I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
Anyway,
very anachronistic and not normally a thing that you see in Marvel movies.
yes.
But it is a good movie.
It is.
I had fun. There were fights, and we will go into detail about it next week.
Yes.
What else? Oh, and then there was Family Day on Sunday. I was actually supposed to go out of town this weekend, so I wasn't going to initially meet up with um it's Scott's cousins on his side. I wasn't actually going to meet them, but since I ended up rescheduling to go out of town to Augusta later because life
Hmm.
and stuff and things, so I was actually in town and able to do that, and my cat is demanding my attention. So I got to see cousins who on his side that we haven't seen since some nebulous pre-pandemic time that we're not sure when because we couldn't remember.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So, get into the discussion topic.
Yes.
Uh, so our discussion topic is Amber Ruffin, who is a comedian, television host, writer, actress, author, and playwright, and she is super mega awesome. Yeah, so during the pandemic, I started watching a lot more basic like news shows like uh I always watched Last Week Tonight, but then I added on the Colbert show, the TV show with his late night, and then I added Seth Meyers, which I wasn't expecting to really like, but ended up liking actually a little bit more than the Colbert show. And then I learned later while watching the Seth Meyers show that one of the writers, Amber Ruffin, has gotten her own show called The Amber Ruffin Show, which I highly, highly recommend. It is delightful, but then one of my friends pointed out that some clips from How Did We Get Here, which is a segment she does, basically explaining uh, like how did we get to this point in American history where we're having to talk about redlining or gerrymandering, or the last one was haunted lakes, which are basically just the the lake in Lake Lanier was a black town that everybody was asked to leave so
Yep.
the white people could have a big lake, and is notoriously haunted and really creepy and super dangerous to scuba dive in.
It is.
So, uh, but I noticed that those clips, so my friends were resharing them from TikTok, and I'm like, oh, that's awesome! Like she's getting more uh, shares on TikTok as well as YouTube, which is where I watch her. So it's like, oh, that's great. So maybe we should talk about her and how awesome she is. So
Yeah, it seems really cool. Like I've been looking through like her filmography, and she's done some like TV
bunch.
shorts and things and episodes. Um, and it's just really cool that she's gone from, you know, well, like she was a writer first, and then she was doing like parts, and now she's gone back to writing, but it's her own show, and that's just really cool.
Yeah,
You can kind
it's
of
really neat between watching uh the Seth Meyers show and her own show. Like I have, like I'm starting to see like, because they talk about it and like apparently they had met, she had met Seth doing improv comedy at
which is really hard, by the way.
yeah at what is it Second City? Yeah, that was it in Chicago, Denver and Chicago. Okay. It's also where she met Jenny Hagel, who also is a fantastic writer and writes for both, I believe, the Seth Meyers show and Amber Ruffin, or at least I saw her on the last episode of Amber Ruffin. Yes, she is also an executive producer and head writer on the Amber Ruffin show. Ha ha!
Oh, she wrote for Drunk History too. Hee hee
Yes.
hee.
Oh, she had a great episode on drunk history. I actually saw that before anything else. But yeah, so she's from Omaha, Nebraska. Uh, graduated Benson High School. Is the youngest of five children. She actually wrote a book with her older sister. You'll never believe what happened to Lacey. Crazy stories about racism.
Mm-hmm.
It came out this year.
New York Times
Uh,
bestseller list.
yep.
Looks good.
It's actually really funny. She's read excerpts from, she's had Lacey on the show, and she read excerpts from the book,
Mm-hmm.
which is super cool. That episode should still be available if you kind of want to get an idea of it before you buy it. I'm highly amused because one of my coworkers also like has a document of when things like that happen to her
Mm-hmm.
or her friend. She writes it down. She's like, I was gonna write a book about it, and I'm like, well, apparently there's an audience for it, so
Yeah.
you should get on that.
Oh, I just think it's so interesting that when she auditioned for Saturday Night Live and she didn't get the part, but then that's when Seth Meyers called her and was like, "Hey, do you want to be a writer on my show?" And I was like, "That's cool."
Yep. Yeah, no, she's very funny. Actually, on her TV show, she wears suits, so automatic plus. Like
Mm-hmm.
she's got the best suit. Yeah, that's so nice. And she does a lot of like musical comedy.
Oh,
So they do like the little filked
the
songs
Filk songs, yeah.
stuff. It's super great. Um, but yeah, so it's just kind of a happy, fluffy episode. Let's see. I'm trying to. I had a space and I got distracted because my cat has jumped up on my table now.
Yep, I can
Let's
see his
see.
tail. I'm surprised mine hasn't joined me, but I think she may be out with my husband, watching whatever
Ah,
he's doing.
yep.
He's
Uh,
trying to reset up my Wii U so I can play Mario Kart. I miss Mario Kart.
I mean, Mario Kart's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Yeah, so apparently on the show, um, she gets a few recurring segments on this is on the Seth Meyers show. Amber says what? Amber's Minute of Fury
That
and
just
jokes
sounds
Seth can't.
that just sounds fun. First minute of fury.
One of my favorites is jokes Seth can't tell, which her and Jenny Hagel do, because Amber is a African American woman, and Jenny Hagel is a lesbian. So thus, these are jokes that Seth Meyer, a white cis man, cannot tell.
I mean, totally fair.
uh, and point counterpoint. So let's see. Yeah, and then Myers interviewed her as a guest for the show for the 1000th episode, and yeah, she did the drunk history. Oh my gosh.
Ooh, she did.
Uh,
She hosted the the 70th Writers Guild of America awards ceremony. That's fancy.
and no, I don't have much about her show on here. Yeah, the Amber Ruffin show, just which actually just started this. Let's see, I think it started at the end of last year, right? September 25th, 2010, 2020. Oh my gosh, I can't read.
It's
2010,
2020.
2020. It was during the pandemic time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, and basically neither show has had a live audience because of the pandemic. So, but in one of her last episodes, they were talking about how they should have they could there's an option to have a live audience. There is where they are recording. There is a place for people to be seated
Mm-hmm.
whenever the time arrives for that. Let's see. But
Oh,
yeah, it,
it's got 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes right now.
it's really, really good. Like, I just don't want people to be sleeping on her because she is super talented and very funny. But yeah, her recurring segment, How Did We Get Here, provides in-depth look at the intersection of race, gender, politics in America and abroad, and specific segments on like police brutality, Meghan Markle, violence against Asian Americans, white supremacy, filibuster, January 6 riots. So, and like we said, we talked about the one about Lake Lanier, but she even pointed out like Lake Lanier is not the only place this happened, and then like lists a whole bunch of different lakes
It's
that
it's
were made.
just it's just the one that the two of us know the best because we live in Georgia, and I believe both of us have been to Lake Lanier at least once.
At least once.
At least once. And as someone who's been on Lake Lanier, I can tell you that area has a really weird vibe to it. Like I, I have had too many experiences not to believe in some sort of supernatural, and it's real weird out on Lake Lanier. And now that I know what's under it, it makes total sense.
Well, it's like I don't know about you. I always knew that there was a town underneath. Like
I
that
did
was
not I did not know.
so we always knew it was a town, but we didn't know anything about the town. It's like, oh yeah, there's an abandoned town under Lake Lanier. So you can't go. People who have gone scuba diving have taken photos, but have also like got tangled up in like fence wire that
Mhm.
they weren't expecting at the bottom of a lake and died. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Don't
no,
don't
she's
go
the one.
don't go scubaing in Lake Lanier.
Yeah, she's the one who's like, oh no, this was a black town, but the white residents of the nearby town didn't want these people in this town anymore. Would rather have a lake. And yep, kindly ask them to. By
would
kindly,
would you kindly? You mean?
would you kindly?
Yeah.
Yes.
If you don't get that reference, it's a terrible. I mean, no, the BioShock is a great game, but it's a terrible reference
Oh yeah.
to a terrible thing. Anyway,
Yeah. So I think I should really stretch this out more.
we're really happy that she's got her own show and that it's doing really well, and she's very very talented. We can recommend. So, I
Don't
mean,
be sleeping on Amber Ruffin.
don't be doing that.
But yeah, I just wanted to give her a little shout out, and like I had friends who didn't know about the show, and that they could watch it on YouTube. You can also watch it on Peacock,
Mm-hmm.
which is the NBC streaming service thing.
Another streaming service, yes, but YouTube is
Right, you don't have
also
to watch
here.
it on YouTube because they have their own YouTube channel. You don't want to sign up for something else, which I understand. And apparently she is set to co-write the Broadway-bound musical adaptation of Some Like It Hot with Matthew Lopez.
That's impressive. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, writing shows is one thing. Writing musicals is something else, but I think she can do it handily.
Oh yeah, no, her musical numbers are top tier,
Yeah.
and there's even like choreography and lights and costume changes. Like it is clear that everybody is having a great time on that
Yeah.
show. Um, so yep, I just wanted to go on that, and I could totally easily tangent us into Lake Lanier if we want, because I don't have that. I just really was excited to share that.
Of course, and we want to share it. We want everybody to know. Um, we don't have to. It doesn't. Our show doesn't have to be like a set thing. It's fine. But yes, I mean, if you're in Georgia, Lake Lanier is very creepy.
Yep.
If you want to go look at it, just know that there's a literal ghost town under there. that was ripped away from its inhabitants.
Yep.
Uh,
Actually, now I'm curious to see if there's anything on the wiki page about it, but I doubt it.
about Lake Lanier.
About Lake Lanier. Yep.
So, pardon us while we go on a tangent, everybody.
Lake Lanier tangent. It's a reservoir. Okay. Buford Dam, which I have been to. Blah blah blah. Engineers, blah blah
Which
blah. Let's see.
would you like to know how many numbers of deaths have been associated with Lake Lanier since 1956?
Sure.
675.
Jeez, Jeebus. Yeah, so there's a sentence. The construction of Lake Lanier destroyed more than 50,000 acres of farmland, displaced more than 250 families, 15 businesses, and relocated 20 cemeteries, along with their corpses in the process.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, the lake was created in the 1950s by flooding the valley communities that contained a cemetery, fueling beliefs that it's cursed.
Definitely doesn't give you happy, fun vibes when you go.
No.
Well, I mean, I guess if you go to the park, maybe. I've never been
Maybe.
to the park.
I don't know. I'm just amused. I typed in Lake Lanier, and you know how they give the set of like questions that people ask. It's the first one is, was Lake Lanier built over a cemetery? Was Lake Lanier built on a city? Are there graves under Lake Lanier? What's wrong with Lake Lanier?
Hey, they do have a prior history. Prior to the groundbreaking, the town was called Oscarville. Predominantly African American community, site of a 1912 racial conflict. Which resulted in forced displacement of 1,100 black people from the county, rendering Oscarville a ghost town. This is done after the alleged raping of 2 white women, one of which was fatally beaten. Perpetrators were allegedly 2 black men who were tried, convicted, and lynched all in one day.
Ugh.
Black residents composed about 10% of the population at the time. Current black population is about 4% of the area's population.
Yikes.
Is North Georgia.
Yeah.
Don't.
But under the question of what's wrong with Lake Lanier, the answer is during a severe drought in 2007, the racetrack's concrete stadium seating breached the surface as if it had been dug up in an archaeological excavation.
Oh, there's pictures.
It took a few years, but the lake eventually filled. Interesting. That yes, it's not good. It's not great.
Not a good history.
Not good. Oh, good. There's an alligator. At least one.
Just one?
At least one. In Lake Lanier. So, watch out for gators.
I mean, I probably there's periodic gator sightings up in Red Top as well.
Mm.
I just assume all bodies of water have potential gators / snakes.
Oh yeah,
At this point, it's just easier.
The closer you get to Okefenokee, which is the name of a swamp in our area, by the way, or not our area specifically, but there's a big swamp called the Okefenokee Swamp. And the closer you get to that, the more gators there are.
As you get closer to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
That's gator country.
That's gator country. Sorry, that was a big tangent. But yeah, Lake Lanier, not great. Not great.
Okay. Yeah, so, I guess now that we've come back from our our world-class tangent race.
Sorry.
No, I'm just as guilty. What are you most anticipating right now?
So this Friday there's a burlesque show that one of the local troops is putting on that's like Disney themed.
Oh, that's cool.
So maybe burlesque show? It's like $25 at the door, so I might go see. It's
Oh,
in
that's
it.
cool.
It's in down. I think it's in downtown though, so
Uh, the traffic and the
I'm not sure yet. Maybe if I have someone to go with me, I'll go. But maybe
I
burlesque show.
I feel that.
um, and
Okay.
making things, you know.
Let's see. I think I have plans to I've started some new anime series, so we're gonna because apparently the summer season has started for my animu. So I've just like watched the first episode. We're gonna see if any stick around, if they continue to be good, or if I just kind of lose interest, which is bound to happen. Speaking of things that people sleep on, anime wise, I probably mentioned it before, but Odd Taxi, highly recommended. Quentin Tarantino. There's a reason why they're animals. Give it a shot. You have to read. You can't look at your phone and enjoy this because there's a lot of exposition and a lot of like just jokes and it sets everything up and you meet all these characters and they all come together in one beautiful story. Don't sleep on it. Uh, but yeah, I'll watch that. I'll actually watch the next two Fear Street movies, which I haven't seen yet. The second one is at hard labor. Like
Which
majority of
us
it as hard labor
us being
state park.
larpers, we know exactly where that is.
Yep. And the common joke I've seen with some of my LARP friends is like, I died in that spot, or
Yes, we call that the murder alley, and now in the movie, it really is a murder alley.
and not just what was it, Friday the 13th Part 2?
Yeah, one of those. I can't
Yeah,
remember which
it
one.
wasn't the first one. I think it was the second one. That was also, but that was at Rutledge.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm gonna watch those and work more on VTuber avatars because now I have an idea to do a thing, but I don't want to say the thing until I've done the thing
Fair.
for reasons. Okay, well, remember, folks, you can always come and watch us record live at Twitch TV /grills on most Monday evenings, as long as Twitch is not being evil with us.
Yep.
Uh, the next one will be on July 26th
Hmm.
at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. And in addition to the subs and bits that we get on Twitch, we are supported by our amazing patrons, the greatest girlfriends on the internet. You can become a patron at www.patreon.com/grills. And if you have Amazon Prime, you can sub to us for free every month on Twitch.
And another way to show your support is by leaving us a review. You can do so on any of your podcast catchers. Leaving a review is free, and they help our ranking, which helps other people find our podcast. Also, you can join our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter if you'd like to help spread the word.
And where can we find you on the interwebs?
You can find me on Twitch and Instagram under the name madcap_misc, and you can check out my store at madcapm.com.
You can reach Ember at 9 of 12 on Twitter and Twitch, and on the Heresy and Hearsay podcast. You can find the Jen at the Jen Says on Twitter, streaming on twitch.tv/the Jen Plays, and find everything at thejensays.com because she owns it. And you can find me on Instagram under Dapple Dame and on Twitch as Ray I know. Thanks for listening, everybody. Good game.
GG! Bye-bye! Okay, and